Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Around the Jewish World in 613 Seconds. Today we are traveling to Omaha, Nebraska, 6,866 miles from Jerusalem to meet the one and only Rabbi Ari Dembitzer. Rabbi Ari, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. What an honor to be here. 613 seconds to talk about life in Omaha. That's wild. That's more than necessary. Okay.
Well, for people who don't know who you are, I go back over 20 years with Rabbi Ari because when I was much younger, I used to be a counselor at a camp called Camp Simcha, and Rabbi Ari has been the head counselor there for almost 25 years in this incredible place. Can you just tell my audience a little bit, like in 30 seconds, what is Camp Simcha, what is Lifeline, and what do you do there?
It's cool to see Rabbi Yoni as a rabbi. I knew him as a counselor. I used to whip him around, whip him into shape. I had to make sure
I'm not in shape. You never got me in shape. Let's be honest.
I had to make sure he was doing his job, and now he's a rabbi, which is really cool. So I'll take all the credit for that. I'm kidding. Camp Simcha, that's who you want to know about?
Very briefly, before we talk about Omaha, Nebraska, we've got to tell everyone listening what Camp Simcha is, right?
Camp Simcha is like utopia. It's a place where people are just so giving, and after a day's work, you don't know who's giving and who's accepting, and who's giving, who's taking. It's a place, obviously there are children who are sick there, who have cancer or different genetic chronic illnesses, and they need young men and young women to help them out and to get them where they need to be emotionally and physically. And it's a wild place to see everybody selfless. And it's a life-transforming few weeks. And I think Rabbi Yoni can attest to that. And this is something that it's really beautiful. It's really, it's an inspiration, and the whole world should learn from Camp Simcha. It'll be a better world.
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking on their website today. There's a sentence there: if Camp Simcha is a fairy tale for sick children, then Rabbi Ari is the Pied Piper, because it's completely true to say that all summer long, there are very chronically ill children, people with various genetic diseases and with cancer and other terrible illness, who are literally following you around because you have a certain energy and love and acceptance and affection for these children, that it's to be seen, to be believed. And as you said, I was a counselor in this camp for 5 summers, and it was a hugely impactful stage in my life, and very much kind of developed me to who I became because of those summers. And I thank you so much for that incredible opportunity. And I look back at those years with tremendous pride and humility that I was able to be part of something so incredible. We have in England Camp Simcha UK, which was started by Mayor and Racheli Plancy, which is doing outstanding work under the leadership of Neville Goldschneider. And I know we have British counsellors who come and join you every year. So kol hakavod for everything you do there. But moving on now to Nebraska. Tell us a little bit about Omaha, Nebraska. What's it like?
Most people never heard of it, and 99.99% of people never been there and probably won't ever be here. It's a little magical community, great little Jewish community in the middle of America, Midwest of America. It's just a beautiful place. It's a small community. There's about 6,000 Jews, and it's a very connected community. People are really, I call Omaha, Nebraska, a city where people are nice for no reason. You know, I'm coming from like New York, Israel, and, you know, traffic, etc. There's a lot of tension. I come to Omaha and it's like people are just nice for absolutely no reason. I'm like, what's your angle? Why are you being so nice to me? I don't know who you are. What is it that you want from me? It's a really cool town. You know, yeah, that's Omaha.
Amazing. And, you know, what's interesting, what I understand, is you're the only Orthodox community within a huge mile radius. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is very true. Mm-hmm.
And what's also beautiful and inspiring is you have an amazing relationship with all the various communities and all the different shades of people from across a wide-ranging spectrum. And that's really, really special. But what's that like? How does that work? Tell us a little bit more.
I guess when you're a small community, you need each other, and that creates beautiful relationships. It fosters beautiful relationships where you're close, and everyone needs each other, and everyone talks to each other, and there's very minimal tension. Obviously, there's ideological differences, but that doesn't play out to personal differences, and doesn't play out to political or power struggles. And it's just, you know, it's a community where people really get along really nicely, and that's what it's like.
You know, the way you're describing Omaha, it's very diverse, and all the different communities get along so nicely, whether they're Orthodox, Reform, traditional, conservative. There's a certain sense of unity, which is a beautiful thing. It reminded me of when I was in Camp Simcha. I had one summer a Hasidic camper. He was really Hasidish. He wore a Hasidic hat and payas, and from a really very, very ultra-Orthodox background. And one night we were having a bonfire, and I think it was Tisha B'Av. It was the 9th of Av. And all the campers were going around telling their story, their horrifically sad and difficult stories of how they, went through illness, etc., etc. There was a secular kid in the camp, a traditional Jewish kid who was sitting there, and started to weep as he started to begin telling his story, and he couldn't carry on. And my Hasidic camper went and put his arm around this boy, and he said, "Don't worry, you don't have to tell your story here. We'll talk later." And these two campers became good friends. And I just the way you described Omaha sent recollections of this beautiful story.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I heard a beautiful midrash recently, and Camp Simcha is utopia, but it's not the most utopia. Why do I say that? It's a very inspiring story, but what united them was pain. And there's just a very quick thought. A midrash says that when the Torah was given at Sinai, all the nations of the world started getting nervous that there was going to be another flood. So why? What's the connection with the flood? So I saw a beautiful idea that they saw that the wolf and the lamb were getting along beautifully. And the last time that happened was in the ark of Noah, Noah's Teva. That's where all these animals got along. They said, "Oh my God, the same thing's going to happen again. There's going to be a flood." But Rameir Shapiro from Chacham Ilvain said, "No, that's different. That's not true unity. That's when there is something from the outside threatening you. You need to unite. There's pain. There's shared pain. There's an insecurity. Therefore, I'm going to reach out to you and become one with you." But that's not Torah. Torah says that I understand that you're different than me, and still we're one. It's a real unity through diversity. It's not a unity from an external threat, external pain, but there's something that I'm intellectual. I'm really understanding that you're different than me, but together we make a one, we make a whole. And I think it's true. That's a very inspiring story. The Camp Simcha, I'm not knocking it. I think that's stage one. Stage two is we don't need Camp Simcha. We have utopia without Camp Simcha. Camp Simcha can get us there. Our goal is to be learned enough and deep enough to be able to see the oneness without difficulty.
And just in terms of like infrastructure, education systems, schooling for your children, in terms of kosher food, in terms of all the infrastructure that a Jewish community would need, do you have all of that set up?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very small town, so you're not going to have kosher restaurants. There's a kosher bagel store, and there's kosher catering if need be. But it's limited. It's definitely limited. The supermarkets all have kosher food, and it's always.
Is it growing? Is it becoming like a little bit more of a center? I'm sure you're bringing tremendous inspiration as the senior rabbi there, but are you bringing in more people? Is the plan like 20, 30 years from now? Do you think this will become more of a center?
I'm very Zionistic. So any type of growth that we have, I'd like to move everybody to Israel. So I don't want to say that in 20, 30 years from now, it's going to be a metropolis. I would like to say that everybody who is currently here will have a deeper Jewish identity, have a deeper connection to Torah values and deeper connection to the land of Israel, and hopefully move to Israel while having the beautiful midos and the character traits of Omaha, Nebraska. That's my mission.
That's beautiful. You know, I start each and every one of my interviews how many miles we are away from Jerusalem, Israel, because that's where we all want to be. And that's the makor, that's the source. But moving on, this ties nicely with my next question. If you could explain to me, what is a Jew to you? What does it mean to be a Jew? Profound question, but you have 60 seconds.
What does it mean to be a Jew? We have a divine responsibility, and we have an eternal responsibility to connect heaven and earth and to radiate that and to make sure that everybody who sees us says, wow, this person is radiating something spiritual, something godly, and something eternal. And that means whether it's being kind to somebody, whether it means to deepen my Jewish connection, my Torah, to understand what it is I'm supposed to be doing, and to constantly radiate that.
Rabbi Ari, let me ask you this question. Some people might look at you and say, you're not dressed as a rabbi, you don't look much like a rabbi, your kippah, your t-shirt. What would you say to people who would say that about how you dress? Is that something to do with being in Nebraska? Is that you? What do you say?
It's probably a combination. I mean, and I also think there's a little value and truth to somebody who says that. My response is, you're right, and I'm sure I'm losing something by not dressing a certain way, which might be true. But I also think that the inside is the most important, and the outside is supposed to just radiate what's inside. And I think also dressing the way I dress, it disarms people. Meaning, it could be for sure a place like Nebraska where the exposure to Orthodox or ultra Orthodox is very limited. If I dressed perhaps a certain way, I would push people away. Perhaps people call me the ripped jeans rabbi, and I say thank you.
Ripped jeans rabbi. I like that.
My wife made me stop being the ripped jeans rabbi, but still the jeans rabbi. Okay.
Well, I must say, you're somebody who epitomizes Toho Kabaro. Your internal represents your external. You are somebody who is very much focused on the real deal of what life is all about. Do you have a blessing with world Jewry? There'll be thousands of people around the world watching this. What's your blessing to Jews around the world watching this?
Wow, that's a tall order. You didn't prepare me for that one. Just go deeper. I mean, I think the Jews have to be deeper and not to be so influenced by the world around them and the impression that they have or are making in the world around them, meaning to be so vulnerable to what people think of us. I think just to really go deeper and to really, I mean, I hate to sound like a rabbi, but I am, but to really study Torah, to really understand what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And the more confident and the deeper I go, the less I'm going to need approval from anybody outside of me. And I think that's the mission statement of the Jewish people, wherever they may be, in St. John's Wood Synagogue in London, England, and in Omaha, Nebraska, and Jerusalem. I think the more confident, the deeper we go inside, and the more we're understanding what we're supposed to be, the less we're going to need approval from anybody else.
Rabbi Ari, who is your role model and your mentor?
Whew. He's not alive, Rabbi Cook. I mean, it's hard to say mentor, it's hard to say role model when I've never met him, but he's influenced me the most, and his teachings has influenced how I think, and he's answered a lot of my questions, and I just identify with his thought process tremendously.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I love about Rav Cook and his teachings is he has kind of like a national kind of perspective on the Jewish people.
National and universal.
National and universal in terms of what the role of a Jew is in this world, looking at the bigger picture. If people watching this feel inspired by you, which I'm sure they will, and you'd want to recommend your favorite book of Rav Cook to read, what would you recommend?
It's hard. I haven't found the best translation of the Hebrew, which is very, very difficult. I love Rabbi Cook's Siddur, the Olas Riyah, which I think there is an English translation in some way, but I happen to love that. It blew my mind open in terms of understanding what we're supposed to have in mind when we daven. I would say that. I would say the easier version of Rabbi Cook's teachings is Einayah, which is on the Talmud, on the Gemara, and Brachos and Shabbos. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more accessible, and again, it just opens up how we think and really connects us in a lot of ways.
Rabbi Ari Dembitzer, this has been an absolute pleasure and privilege. I cannot wait to see you when I'm next in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm coming for Shabbos, like it or not.
We just meet in Jerusalem.
Please God, we should meet in Jerusalem and dance together at the Western Wall. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for the honor. Keep up the great work.